Hi, everybody. Yesterday I said good morning and I didn't hear a lot of enthusiasm. This is good afternoon. One more time, a little louder. Good afternoon. This is day 2, so there's a lot of energy as these guys finish off on a really high note. I'm Melissa Lederer. I'm the Chief Experience Officer here at mHUB. I'm also a managing partner on our impact fund that invests in this Accelerator program. I am so excited to be here and so proud of these teams and the progress that they've made during this program. So I woke up this morning and I was like, what am I gonna wear? And I put on leather because I thought, I wanna be a little bit badass because I wanna be a little bit badass to try and even compete in a little way with these teams because they are seriously badass. Can we have a round of applause for that? Yeah. They have been working incredibly hard over 6 months. I'll let Bill Feenup, the managing director of the program, tell you more about it, but they've been working incredibly hard. They've come a long way, and I am so enthusiastic for what they're building, what they're disrupting with these technologies. So please give them a lot of enthusiasm and smiles as they're up here pitching, and really stay and talk with them and engage and learn more about how you can help them and get involved in what they're doing. So this is our 4th cohort of the Accelerator. Second time we've done medical devices. We've now invested in 36 teams. Of those, some really kind of growth already, right? So 34 of those teams are still active. And they have, they've raised collectively in non-dilutive capital over $20 million, which I think is great. 96% of them have actually raised follow-on capital, so that's also a nice sign of progress. And our fund is investing from a diversity standpoint 6.5 times the national average of other venture funds. So another great thing. This moment is a little bittersweet for all of us because you may have seen as you walked in, there's lots of boxes around. This is our last event. This is the last event. Tomorrow, things continue. All our members have to be packed up tomorrow morning. So we are very excited about our new space at 1623 West Fulton, which is at the intersection of Fulton and Ashland at the end of Fulton Market. And we are just like so over the moon about what this resource brings to this community. So if you haven't seen it, we're doing lots of tours. There's gonna be lots of things coming for opportunities. The infrastructure, the resources are really accelerating in terms of what we're offering to help incubate, accelerate, and grow these types of businesses that are gonna really change the world, right? In medical devices and healthcare, and climate and energy technology, and sustainable manufacturing, really doubling down on those 3 categories. So with that, I wanna first give a big thanks to Bill Feenup and Katie Maskell, who led this program for the last 6 months and worked with these teams. Thanks, guys. And now I'm going to turn it over to Bill Feenup, tell you a little bit more, and then let's get on to the pitches. So thanks very much. Enjoy.
Thank you, Melissa. And thank you all for joining us to celebrate this milestone today. 9 months ago, 152 companies filled out applications to be a part of this competitive program. We gathered dozens of judges and subject matter experts to handpick the teams with the most talented and passionate founders, the teams with the best technologies and solutions, and the teams serving the largest markets that impact healthcare and improve patient outcomes. Along with our partner, North Shore Edward Elmhurst, we selected the 10 best teams and put them through a rigorous program that started in March. These 10 teams had access to a world-class innovation hub. They took over 30 classes, they tapped into a pool of 65 mentors, and worked with the hardtech development services team to improve their technology. But what differentiates this program more than others is the partners that we pull in to support it. Partners like Ontogen MedTech and MP Consultants. They spent countless hours helping these teams. So thank you. I also want to thank Edge One Medical and Cooley for the services they provided and the classes they taught. And of course, our leading partner, North Shore Edward Elmhurst Health, for the investment into this program. for their investment into this program and the access to the healthcare system that they provided. These 5 partners donated a lot of time and capital to accelerate these startups, and it shows. I'm so damn proud of this cohort and their collective accomplishments. Over the past 6 months, just within this program, they filed for 15 patents. They scheduled 10 clinical trials or pilots. They hired 8 full-time employees and raised over $4.2 million. Each one of those KPIs is a record for this Accelerator program, and they couldn't have done it without the help of their mentors and instructors who've donated a lot of time and expertise to guide them through their journey. I see a lot of you mentors out here. Thank you so much. We appreciate your dedication and support. I also want to thank the one-on-one mentors. Those are our primary mentors who coached these teams each and every week. They spent a lot of time with those teams, so thank you. I also want to recognize Melissa, the mHUB staff, the hardtech development services team, and the mHUB community for participating in brainstorms and improving their technology. They've all been great, put a lot of effort, time and effort into helping these teams. And of course, I want to thank Katie Maskell, the program manager, for her knowledge and all her effort to make this program run. And I'm serious, this program wouldn't have run without her, so thank you, Katie. All right, so who wants to hear these teams pitch? Let me tell you how it's going to go down. Each team is going to be introduced by a mentor. There's going to be 5-minute pitches back to back. The questions, I know you're going to want to ask questions, they're going to be handled at their demo table in the co-working space. And then we're going to hear from our partner, Brad Bennett from North Shore Edward Elmhurst Health. And we'll hear from Steve Koch, one of the managing partners of the Product Impact Fund. My ask of you, the audience, is to connect with these teams, check out their demos, and accelerate their growth. So now let's get into some pitches. I'm going to welcome Adrian Grogowski up to the stage to introduce our first team.
Thank you, Bill. Before the event, Bill and I bonded over margarita recipes. So my name is Adrian Golowski. I'm one of the 65 mentors that was mentioned, and I bring with me 15 years of healthcare and marketing experience. So I had the distinct pleasure with working with a couple of the startups that are in the program. And what really strikes me about the first company that you'll hear from, or a sense, is the passion and the energy that Amber Ivy brings to this company. As an entrepreneur and co-founder, as you know, a lot of these companies are looking to solve really deep unmet needs in the current medical community. And with Amber, she's got a personal stake, specifically in the neurology space. As we all know, we have a great deal of improvements to make in neurology. Neurological exams take a great deal of subjective analysis in physical and cognitive functioning. And what AuraSense is attempting to do is to bring a level of data and accountability to that problem. So without further ado, I would love for you to help me welcome Amber Ivy to the stage.
Last week, I had a brain exam. Let that sink in for a second. I know in your mind, you're probably thinking I had all different probes on my head. There was probably an MRI machine involved, but that wasn't the case. What happened was exactly what's happening right now. My doctor watched me move, watched how I talked, had me do exercises, and observed me. What's the problem with that? Over 50% of neurology exams happen by observation alone. This is a big problem when you can't repeat the same exam twice. So when I went to my neurologist last week, she wrote down a lot of pages of notes, 3 pages to be exact, back and front, because I watched her do it during our consultation. And I was sitting there and I was wondering, how are we going to put that in a computer? How are we going to get information on what's happening with my body and my brain? And the reason I asked that is because I live with multiple sclerosis, and I've been living with it for 12 years. The wild part about that is that I've been misdiagnosed twice. And even last week, my new neurologist was asking, are you sure you have multiple sclerosis? Did they check this? Did they check that? That's a problem in 2023 when we have the tools and technology we need to ensure that people get access to brain health. One of the reasons why this stands out for me as well is that I'm a data professional. So every time I go to the doctor, I'm always wondering, where's the data? Where's the measurements? How are we taking that qualitative data that you've written on three pages back and front and putting it into something that can actually equate to real actionable information? The reality is we don't currently have that. That's why OraSense is bringing to you all an effective solution that can help folks in the area of clinical trials. Why clinical trials? I'm not saying in a way that we're putting our device through clinical trials, but there are drugs that are going through clinical trials right now for brain health. And they're not passing, not because they're not safe, but because they're deemed ineffective. Our tool that we have is meant to ensure that we are able to capture the data at the beginning. So imagine with what I said earlier, with those drugs that are happening. Imagine if a neuro is doing that exam on a drug at the beginning of that, and then they're doing the same exam at the end. How do we know what happened, and how do we know if that data is right? OraSense has that solution, and we want to bring to you something that I think is really cool. So we're going to take those observational exams that you see on the right side of the screen and ensure that individuals can take those things and put it into an automated AI-assisted powered exam. So imagine instead of you just watching me here today, I'm in front of a device that can watch how I move, watch how I interact, and capture all that data. This is done using novel technology such as AI, mid-air haptics, and technologies that didn't exist even 10 to 20 years ago. We have technologies now that can change lives and ensure that we get the drugs that are safe and effective on the market to the consumer. So who is our target profile? We're going after companies that are in the pharmaceutical industry. Over the next 3 years, there's going to be 1,000 trials that are happening with different brain disorders. For folks experiencing Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, these are people who are going to need access to drugs. And if we look around the room, I'm sure everyone knows someone that's dealing with this. And these brain disorders are only increasing. So who is our competition? There are people who are offering services as well as different devices to track what is happening in this field. But our device is the only one that has a comprehensive ability to capture all that data in one place at one time during one exam in a very quick way. I'm excited to say that we are the solution for this problem. So our way to make money is through software as a service. We'll charge a subscription for each of those AI-empowered kiosks that you saw earlier. The beauty of that is that for clinical trials, it costs $40,000 per person on average for a person to go through a clinical trial. Our device is only a $180 subscription a month per patient. So we're saving the company a lot of money, and we're also making a lot of money while we're doing it. Our hope is that we'll have $30 million with 300 trials in the next 3 years. But the thing is, we're not going to stop there. So although we're starting with clinical trials, because this is a space where we don't need FDA regulation and we can get pretty quickly into that market, we do eventually want to get into neurology education. There's a lack of neurologists in the current market, so we want to help them to be able to get educated in this space. And eventually, we want these in the homes of all people who are dealing with brain disorders so we can help them care in place and have the tools and data they need to get the services that they need. This market is continuing to grow, and we're looking to attack the $2 billion market related to clinical trials. So these are our founders. We have a mix of people who are passionate, who are experts in data, engineers, and things like that. You also have me. My initials are AI. Don't forget it. My parents did well by that. But we're super excited to bring along people who are really passionate about this and who are ready to get the job done. Our progress over the last year has been great. So we incorporated in November of last year, and since then, we've filed 3 provisional patents. We've been able to create our prototype here at mHUB. Please come see our demo table so you can see our cool device and touch sound. Come see what I mean so you can check that out. But we want to make sure that we are showing that we are a company that's growing and growing very quickly. We're on the road to raise $1.5 million. Even in the last 2 weeks, we just secured another $350,000. Give us a little clap for that. And we're excited to use that along with new partners to get our product developed this fall in order to go into clinical trials next year. So really excited about that. So I want to leave you with one thing. Observation alone is not enough, even right here as you are observing me. So I invite you all to take action, meet me at my demo table, and learn more about the great work that OraSense is doing. Thank you all.
All right, please help me welcome to the stage Jeff Hutchins.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, my name is Jeff Hutchins. I'm the head of operations and development for another medical device company called Intuitat Medical. We're also based here in mHUB. We're a little bit further down our journey than most of the cohort here. But I just want to start by saying another tremendous group of incoming companies this year. So I want to thank mHUB for everything that they've done in terms of continuing to do this. I think this is an incredible benefit to early stage companies and the Chicago innovation environment. With that said, amongst these incredible companies, I had to pick one of them as the lead mentor, and what really attracted me to Zirconia Medical was really two things. The first thing was the stage that the company was at. They were fairly early on. They were really in concept development, had a very good, well-defined problem defined, but they really were experimenting with and deciding how to address that problem. That really attracted me because I've learned the hard way that that's a really important stage for companies to really be able to define that well and go through a well-structured process. So I thought I could bring my value and benefit to that. The second thing was the space that they're in, which is to say women's healthcare. Historically, women's healthcare, it is recognized historically that women's healthcare is underserved. And it is an area that needs a lot more innovation, and it's great to see a female-led company amongst others in this group as well, really taking that up in a particularly important area of OB-GYN. So that really attracted me to this company, and also the passion which Ronnie had for her the problem and the solution, and her passion for resolving this and making better outcomes for everybody. So with that, let me introduce Ronnie Canton-Blame of Zirconia Medical.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for this wonderful introduction and for a wonderful 6 months of working together. I'm really excited to share with you what we've been working on at Zirconia Medical, but first I want to start by asking you to raise your hand if you have children. Well, that's a good number. Please leave your hand up if while giving birth, or for the dads in the room, if you observed your wife, to have had the pleasure of also getting vaginal exams and thought, there must be a better way to do this. Thank you. Well, I have good news for you. We found a way. We're developing the first medical device to replace the vaginal exams that every woman goes through during labor. Like so many of you and so many other women, I also went through the painful and traumatic vaginal exams during birth, and also ended up having 3 C-sections. With my 15 years experience in medical devices, I decided that it's time we make a change. We're on a mission to end unnecessary pain, invasiveness, and risk during childbirth. It's really important to understand, vaginal exams are used for making critical labor decisions, like whether to induce or do a C-section. They're done by inserting fingers through the vaginal canal and assessing the cervix and the position of the baby. But unfortunately, as you can imagine, there are serious risks involved with this subjective method that still in 2023 is done by fingers. In fact, 140 million women give birth worldwide, and they go through a series of vaginal exams. 80% of women find these exams painful, traumatic, and embarrassing. There's a huge error rate of 50%, and that leads to wrong decisions, unnecessary interventions, and birth complications. 5 million C-sections are done just due to errors with the vaginal exam, directly increasing maternal morbidity and mortality. The World Health Organization, ACOG, and numerous studies acknowledge all these risks and call for a change. Our solution is a computer vision and machine learning-based device to measure the cervix and the position of the baby. It has a multi-use probe, which is the long shaft you see there ending with the black imaging part, and a single-use disposable unit, which is the pink. It's designed to be woman-friendly and non-painful, while giving users accurate and reproducible data to base those critical labor decisions on. We are addressing significant benefits to the different stakeholders. To the patients, we are reducing the number of exams by 40% and giving them a safer and a non-painful solution. To the providers, we save hospitals $500,000 a year just by optimizing their staff time, and we give their clinicians a data-driven solution to support their clinical decision-making. And to the payers, their savings are estimated at $3 billion a year by minimizing unnecessary procedures and complications. Our total addressable market is $17.5 billion. Our more immediate market segment is value-based care US hospitals that are focused on improving maternal outcomes with a market size of $100 million. Our business model is based on 3 main revenue streams. Device sales to hospitals and clinics at $3,000 per device. Recurrent revenues from the disposable parts at $20 per disposable. We estimate $150,000 average hospital spend a year that will be reimbursed. And a subscription model for the first of its kind global data and image bank. The return on investment for a hospital for 10 devices can be realized with as little as 2 to 3 months. We've gained tremendous traction since we started last year. Earlier this year, we raised a pre-seed round from mHUB Product Impact Fund. We have medical centers interested in doing our pilot studies, and we are finalizing strategic partnerships with leading medical innovation centers. I'm especially excited to share with you that while we were at mHUB, we developed our first working prototype, and we are looking forward to demoing it to you later in our booth. When we hit the market, no woman, no hospital, and no clinic will choose to use the old finger method ever again. Thank you. As for our team, as I mentioned, I have 15 years of experience in developing medical devices. I'm a biomedical engineer. I held a research position at MIT and have a master's degree from Tufts University. Together with me, my chief medical advisor, Professor Shalev, is a world-renowned OBGYN professor. He's currently president of one of the top universities in Israel and formerly dean of the medicine faculty at the Israeli Institute of Technology. And my co-founder and head of business, Yoni Balan, also my husband, has 15 years of experience in VC-backed startups and Fortune 500 companies. We are currently raising $1.5 million to support the completion of our beta prototype, run a pilot study, and submit for FDA clearance. We invite all of you to join our mission in revolutionizing maternal care and outcomes. Thank you so much. I want to thank Mohammed and Kat from VivoWare for supporting us in the product development, as well as mHUB, Katie, Bill, Haven, Melissa, and Alex. Thank you all so much.
Shannon McGee, please join us on stage.
Hey, everybody. Hey. Okay, like, hello, everybody. Okay, thank you. My name is Shannon McGee. I'm the Vice President of Programs and Engagement here at mHUB. Woo! I've had the pleasure of seeing this community grow from 30 members to the more than 450 companies that we've supported today. Clap for that, including these cohort members. My job is to provide the resources, community, programming, and prototyping equipment, and general curriculum to make sure that entrepreneurs have what they need to succeed. And what I know is that there are certain traits that you recognize in a really successful entrepreneur. I'll let these folks talk about their technology, but what it really comes down to is grit, passion, tenacity, and the gumption to get up every day and keep swinging, sometimes in the face of really challenging conditions and failure. So when I was in the basement of the Hyatt Regency Hotel, getting ready for Chicago Urban League's Woke Summit, and I saw Isaac Chadri pitch at TechRise, I said, we gotta get him in here. So he came in through the Landis Family Fellowship Program, has been a member now for longer than this program horizon, and it's really shared throughout founders in this cohort as well. But I'm here to talk about Isaac, and I can tell you that he has those traits. It's been such a pleasure to see your growth over your time here. I'm so honored to introduce you, and I can't wait for you to talk about Dowatech and what's coming next. So Isaac Chadri, co-founder and CEO of Dowatech, let's hear what you got.
What's up? So as you just see, I dance a lot. So if I dance during the presentation, that's just a part of the whole thing, yeah? You guys ready? Sweet. Did you know it takes between 2 to 8 days to diagnose the disease? During that time frame, physicians typically have two options: either overprescribe medication or do nothing. Both of those increase the cost of treatment and actually worsen health outcomes. Hi, my name is Isaac Chadri, co-founder and CEO of Dowatech, and this is me, right after a procedure because my condition was not caught early enough. This resulted in over 3 surgical procedures and a 1-month stay extra in the hospital. Now, I am not alone in this. Within the US, because of misdiagnosis and late diagnoses, 60,000 people die every single year. And on top of that, that ends up costing the US healthcare system $750 billion in excess spending. That is not okay. We need to get those numbers down. In order to do that, we need a solution that delivers rapid results. We need a solution that drives cost efficiency by reducing the amount of unnecessary procedures. And we need a solution that provides seamless care so that first visit is a conversation with data and actionable information and not an interrogation. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to say at Dowatech we've done this with our solution, the Rapid Testing Kit. This is a portable device the size of a toaster that can differentiate between viruses, bacteria, and cancers in over 1 minute. Now, I'm a scientist by training, so I can talk for days about the science. So find me later on, we can go ahead and do that. But in short, we use this laser that's called ramen, not ramen, the food you can go buy and it's really tasty. And this technology has been used in airport security and pharmaceuticals to look at containers without opening them, and has been used in multiple clinical trials around the world. But what we're able to do is bring this to the point of care, and what this does is enables treatment to start sooner because we can have very quick results. It is so easy to use, it requires no technical training or relatively simple sample prep. And multimodal testing allows us to add diseases to the platform via software update. We really want to take this around the entire US, which happens to have a $1.2 trillion market, which accounts for every hospital and clinic within the area. However, we plan on starting with rural clinics within Alabama and Illinois because they're the ones who either spend over $100,000 running their own labs or outsource it to Quest Diagnostics and have to wait days for those results. Within those markets, we really plan on starting first with veterinary clinics. This is surprising because they actually have the same problems as private clinics do. They use the same based PCR devices that private clinics also use, but there's no regulatory hurdles. So this allows us to quickly gain revenue while we then prepare to use that data and revenue to submit for our FDA clearance so we can move on to private clinics. Then after we've added our second and third indications, we plan on moving on to emergency rooms. Now, the way we plan on moving on to these and selling to them is via a subscription-based model, which accounts for the device, the tests, and disease updates. Now, this is really unique, and compared to our competitors, this doesn't really happen, but we all have the same commonality that we all prioritize how fast we can do this and the cost. But relative to our competitors, we are still significantly faster and cheaper. We actually give you the biomarker details that you can track over time, which other competitors cannot do. And again, we're the only platform that can add diseases via software update instead of you having to buy a cartridge, having to buy a physical sample or anything else to run those tests. Now, this has been a long journey and we've had tremendous support. Starting off with TechRise, going on to generative accelerators and mHUB, and I am so happy to say that we are now going to start our third-party validation with Auburn University, University of Georgia at the end of this month to happen. And in order to keep going on this journey, we have to go take this one step at a time. So far, with having a patent pending on our device this year, we aim to then have our clinical study next year and submit for FDA 510(k) clearance. And then after that, start having our private clinic launches and starting our emergency room pilots at the end of the next year after that. Now, in order to do this, we've had to build a team, and I'm so proud of this team. With myself and the experience with the laser, my two software engineers that actually build this product so we can actually be scalable, and our chief scientific officer who actually runs all the internal and external studies. We've also had a clinical and scientific advisory board that allows us to make sure we're tackling the diseases and this approach the right way with the right guidance. Now, even with all this support, we still need a little bit more, which is why we're looking for a $2 million pre-seed raise. This will allow us to get early revenue with those vet clinics I mentioned earlier, get a manufacturable ready device so that we can go through our clinical validation and present that FDA pre-sub so we make sure we're on the right path to go. Now, I'm very lucky that I'm able to stand here with you today and tell you this story. But for many friends, relatives, and loved ones, that's not the same case. Help us make rapid diagnostics accessible to everyone, regardless of socioeconomic status. And you can do that by checking us out at that demo table. Thank you guys very much. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, Steve Garkow, please join us on stage.
Good afternoon. As you all know by now, my name's Steve Garkow. I'm president of Foresight Marketing, which is a company that's been around since for about 16 years. What we do is we focus on providing high-value marketing support to help specifically move the market forward and enhance the market adoption for medical devices. But I'm here to really introduce Tyler Zanin and of InnoShunt, and I am so excited to be able to do that. During the mentor match days, I kind of came like many of you, and I looked at the demo, and I was just stunned by this tech. I know they've got a long way to go, but the concept of being able to have such a significant impact on patient care, especially those requiring emergency care, just stunned me, and I'm so glad to have been able to been involved with this. Now, I'm not quite sure how many of you folks have been mentors before. If you have, you know that a large percentage of mentees are so focused on their vision that they actually don't pay attention to what the mentor says. And what I would say is the thing that I really like about Tyler is that when I challenged him, he gave thought, and that's not saying I'm right, but he gave thought, and we actually were able to kind of have great dialogue to improve the company and move it forward. So I would like you all to welcome Tyler to the stage. I think that this is going to be a highly successful product, and it's going to be due in large part to Tyler. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. As a warning, I'm going to dance a lot less than Isaac did. Phoenix, Arizona is the 5th largest city in the United States. Imagine if that entire population were to disappear overnight. That horrifying tragedy pales in comparison to the amount of lives lost every single year due to uncontrolled abdominal bleeding. At EndoShunt, we're looking to change this by giving trauma surgeons the gift of time so they can give trauma patients the gift of life. We were founded to solve a problem that's become far too common in the healthcare world today. The sad reality is that the time to death from abdominal hemorrhage or bleeding is shorter than the time it takes to access the sites of these injuries, leaving our healthcare professionals helpless and our patients hopeless. Trauma is now the leading cause of death for individuals under the age of 46, with causes including violent crimes, car accidents, or even complications during routine surgery. And it's more than just loss of life. For those who are lucky enough to survive, there's a massive loss of quality of life. Roughly 3 out of every 5 suffer from life-altering complications and nearly a year's worth of painful recovery due to the secondary trauma of current treatment alternatives. Our industry needs a solution, and EndoShunt is that solution. We empower surgeons with the ability to gain rapid, targeted control over abdominal hemorrhage. Our device is inserted through the femoral artery or vein and traced to the aorta or the IVC, where it can be deployed to occlude blood flow from the inside. EndoShunt is size adjustable, so that as surgeons learn more, their patient's blood continues to flow to where it should without flowing out of where it shouldn't. Our device is also completely temporary, so once the injury has been fixed, it can be removed without complication. To date, we have proven effective hemorrhage control both in simulation and in animal models. In our simulations, our hypothetical patients lost blood at a rate that would result in death in just 2 minutes. But empowering them with EndoShunt meant they gained control over that hemorrhage in as little as 30 seconds. Of equal importance, they maintained that control for the life of our experiment, so that in the future, they'd be able to stop bleeding and control it as they work to save these patients' lives. There are other devices or procedures currently on the market that are used to treat abdominal hemorrhage, but none of them were developed for this purpose, and because of that, all of them fall short. They're overly invasive, minimally effective, and can lead to secondary trauma as serious as amputation or organ failure. EndoShunt really is the only option that gives our surgeons the time, the technique, and the control that they need to save these patients' lives and improve their clinical outcomes. Through the cleverness of our intellectual patent lawyers, we have gained exclusive access to the category of endovascular shunting. We've also produced key design features that ensure our freedom to operate and our ability to capture this market for decades to come. We're also partnering with the right quality and regulatory professionals to fit who we are today, but who we intend to be in the future. We're even using the same regulatory consultants responsible for our predicates clearance to prepare our FDA testing pathway and meet for a Q-Sub meeting later this year. In a perfect world, there would be no need for a product like EndoShunt, but this is a far from perfect world. Using the Trauma Quality Improvement Program dataset, we have accurately defined our target markets. With our $366 million beachhead, which are cases where surgeons really only have 2 options: leverage EndoShunt or accept that their patient will likely bleed to death. From here, we'll expand to additional abdominal indications of use, international markets, and other therapeutic areas such as OBGYN, oncology, and transplant surgery, resulting in a roughly $60 billion annual market for EndoShunt. Not only can EndoShunt empower our surgeons to save lives and improve their clinical outcomes, it can also help our trauma centers financially as well. We carry a $6,000 average sales price and an 84% gross margin, which is directly on par with most major medical device manufacturers on the market. For our trauma centers, this means access to roughly $26,000 of reimbursement on existing codes for things they're carrying out today. It also means the ability to access roughly 340,000 of care opportunities that they cannot with what they have right now. They say you invest in a team first and a product second, but at EndoShunt, we're lucky enough to have both. We have married over 20 years of medical device development experience with 2 active trauma surgeons so that we know our product will be fit for the market when we get there. We've come a long way since our ideation in 2020, much in part to the help at mHUB. During these 6 months, we've expanded our executive team. We've conducted our first animal trial, proving effectiveness in a biological system. We've won multiple awards at the University of Heartland's Arkansas Challenge, which includes the Medical Innovation Award. And we've formalized our QMS as we prepare for our Q-Sub meeting with the FDA later this year. We're currently raising $1.8 million. And with this investment, we will gain our FDA clearance. We'll make more robust our Midwest-based supply chain, and we'll produce the clinical materials that we need to carry out our pilot launch in 2025. EndoShunt truly is the gift of time for our trauma surgeons. And by helping us get this product to market, you can give the gift of life to their trauma patients. Thank you.
Welcoming Dimitra Georgianopoulou to the stage.
Hey everybody, I'm Dimitra Georgianopoulou. I'm the general partner of Coral Ventures. Coral Ventures is an early stage seed investment firm, and our commitment to medical device investment is we are a partner of the mHUB fund. So I was actually walking through the airport this summer multiple times, and I saw this kiosk, this CVS Walgreens kiosk that was open all night, so you can actually self-serve and you can get whatever drugs or other things that you wanted. I'm like, that's super convenient and cool and resilient. I'm like, that's interesting. And then I was introduced to Everyplace Labs. So I am part of the diagnostics industry for the last 20 years, and I'm thinking to myself, where these guys are going is probably going to have a very subtle but very impactful difference in the diagnostics world. So let me tell you a little bit more about Michael too, my ideal mentee. I was telling the team yesterday, we were trying to find out things that we have in common, and up until yesterday, I think, when he found out, we actually have more than he thinks. So the first thing we do have in common is we both like basketball, and I'm a big Giannis Antetokounmpo fan, and I was asking him, so, hey, if you like NBA, so what is your favorite player? And I was hoping that he would say the Greek guy, but he didn't. And then he said, Jimmy Butler. I'm like, by the way, I don't know who this guy is, from Miami somewhere. And I was like, so why did you choose this guy? And I was waiting for statistics and numbers, KPIs, and he's like, I just like his hustle. And I'm like, Michael, if you like his hustle, that means you have hustle. And then the next thing that I thought about him is that we have multiple other points of intersection. He's actually was born and raised like a mile from where my husband was born and raised, and I'm like, And then he moved from Texas, a very heavy medical device state, he's lived in Minnesota, a very heavy medical device state. He lived in San Francisco on the West Coast, but he chooses Chicago to actually develop his company. So we both love Chicago. So well done, Michael, for that. And then the last thing that I was thinking about it, I said, so what else do you do for fun? And he's like, I like, superhero movies. And he thought, like, because I'm a mentor and an investor, I'm like, oh, Michael, I like the opera. But I was like, I actually love superhero movies too. So, and I was thinking to myself, what is it that I like about startups and superhero movies? Is that they actually, startup heroes are exactly like startup founders, right? They have the tenacity, they have the grit, they have the resilience. And my favorite movie scenes is when like something happens, a big explosion, something bad happens, and everybody moves one way away from it, and the startup entrepreneurs, the superheroes moving towards the problem, like we can fix it, we can do it. So for that, I want to introduce you Michael too. He's an ideal mentee for me. He came prepared every week with his agenda in advance. We went through it, he listened, he adapted, he pivoted, so I'm looking forward to seeing him succeed. So without further ado, Michael too.
Thank you, Dimitra. That really means a lot. How many of you have ever gone to the emergency room and been frustrated by how long you needed to wait there? Raise your hands. It looks like almost all of us have. And it turns out a major reason why patients wait a long time in emergency rooms is because of delays with urine tests, which cause patients to wait 30 minutes longer in emergency rooms. Annually, 150 million patients go to the ER in the US, and urine test delays cause 11% of them to wait longer in the ER. Now, let's examine why this is happening today. Overstretched staff run an inefficient 65-minute testing process. After the nurse orders the urine tests, there's typically a 60-minute delay before the test is actually run. Staff lose track of samples, they're too busy to run the actual tests, or they're too busy to track down patients who have not yet urinated. In this type of situation, patients are frustrated because they're waiting a long time. Physicians are also frustrated too because they can't treat the patient, and techs and nurses are frustrated because they have a huge backlog of tests that they need to run. Now, imagine a future where none of these frustrations and bottlenecks exist. At EveryPlace Labs, we're enabling such a future through our self-service kiosk that automates point-of-care diagnostics and speeds up test turnaround time from 65 minutes to 5 minutes. Our kiosk is deployed in the waiting room, and it removes dependencies on clinical staff and their availability to run the tests. Because of this, our solution improves efficiency and patient throughput in ERs, unlocking $20.5 million in annual revenue opportunity for our health system. Our solution also reduces the amount of time staff spend on testing, freeing up 16.5 full-time employees worth of time. And our solution also reduces wait times, which will ultimately improve patient satisfaction. Now let's take a look at how this might work inside of a waiting room. Our solution simplifies the existing clinical workflow that takes place in the waiting room today. Patients simply scan a barcode on their wristband. From there, the kiosk will dispense a urine collection cup, and patients urinate into the cup at a nearby restroom, and they simply place the cup back into the kiosk, and they can walk away. From there, the kiosk automates the testing and sends results directly to the electronic medical record system. And all in all, this process takes about 5 minutes. Because our solution is so simple, it eclipses the standard of care today, which are manual test strips that most emergency rooms use in the US. We're providing the best turnaround time, labor time savings, and patient experience. And because our kiosk has a very low price point, we're enabling the ER Director of Nursing to quickly purchase our device. Our kiosk only costs $10,000, which is below the capital expenditure threshold for most emergency departments. Because of this, the ER Director of Nursing can directly buy our device without going through the value committee for the entire health system. Most of our revenue will come from recurring revenue from our per test sales, and our price per test is comparable to the existing tests on the market today. As an example, our pregnancy test costs $6, and all of our tests are already reimbursable today. We have a lean and high-performing team. Because of this, we've been able to generate significant value with only $765,000 in capital. We've validated that there's an urgent unmet need by interviewing more than 50 key stakeholders in the emergency room space, a number of whom became our clinical advisors. We completed a successful clinical trial with Northwestern's OBGYN department for urine pregnancy testing, and we also secured our first US patent approval. And several weeks ago, we secured a letter of intent to perform a usability pilot in the emergency room at Henry Ford Health in Detroit. Thank you. And now we're raising a $1.5 million seed round, of which we've closed $420,000 to complete our pilot phase. We'll use the funding to complete optimizing our beta kiosk prototype for urine testing in emergency rooms, and from there, we'll deploy it inside of an emergency room and finish a clinical pilot there. When we're done with this last pilot, we'll begin our $8 million Series A raise, which we anticipate will start in about 9 months. We're a cross-industry team from MedTech, diagnostics, robotics, consumer products, and industrial equipment, the industrial equipment industries. I'm from the medical device industry, previously at Baxter Healthcare, Medtronic, and Fresenius. And when I was at Baxter, I co-led the development of a new Class II medical device from its early concept through a regulatory approval. And we're guided by a world-class team of advisors from the emergency medicine, diagnostics, and healthcare spaces who represent technical, clinical, and commercial experts. And just as a few examples, we have Eric Shane, a former R&D leader at Abbott Diagnostics with 90 patents. And we also have Dr. Prentice Tom, the former chief medical officer of Vituity, the largest emergency room staffing company in the US. And now we want to invite you to join us in shaping the future of diagnostics. Invest early in our $1.5 million seed round and partner with us to complete our pilot in the emergency room. So if you're interested in learning more, come find me at our table after this. We have our beta kiosk prototype set up there, so we can also show you a live urine test run. I look forward to meeting and getting to know you and also hearing your advice about our company. Thank you very much for your time.
Welcoming Henry Alder to the stage.
Thank you very much. Pleasure being here. My name is Henry Alder. I am the managing director of a small consulting firm by the name of Access to Care Partners. Access to Care Partners helps startup companies, primarily in the MedTech space, understand the issues associated with not only bringing their product to the marketplace, but more importantly, thinking about who's going to pay for it. So we focus a lot on insurance payment, both commercial as well as the government insurers. And we also talk about issues associated with what kinds of data, what kind of evidence you need to bring to these stakeholders who are very important in growing and expanding MedTech technology. I've been in the MedTech space for a long time. You can tell by my gray hair, I've been in this business over 20 years. And I had an opportunity to meet Katie about a year or so ago, and she learned about some of the things that my daughter and I do in the reimbursement space and healthcare economics space. So she asked us this past April to come out and do a 1-hour presentation for the cohorts, for the mentees this year. So we were out here, I think it was in the mid-April timeframe, and we talked about reimbursement, health economics, evidence, and so forth. And we tried to talk about it not from coding perspective. A lot of my colleagues in the space like to talk about CPT codes and DRGs and ICD-9 codes. I try to stay away from that. We try to focus really on what do you need to do, what do you need to have when you approach the healthcare payer. Now, a healthcare payer can not only be an insurance company, it could also be a clinician or a clinician's office, could be at a hospital, could be even an individual patient. So we focus our presentation for the mentees here on thinking about reimbursement and health economics from that particular standpoint. Well, after Julie and I gave our presentation back in April, we got this call from Rachel saying, I need some help. I'd like to really understand how payers are going to react to my technology. Now, Rachel, you'll learn more about her in a few moments. She's developing a product for women's health, and particularly dealing with issues in the lower pelvic space. And this is an area that's been definitely underserved for many, many, many years, and I'll let Rachel talk more about that. But I'd like to help you let me rephrase that. We helped Rachel understand what impact payers are going to have on her business. What we've done is we've set up interviews with current medical directors from several major payer organizations. Now, my interviews are set up one-on-one. I used to be in a place where I would set up panel meetings with 2 or 3 or 4 payers. These are medical directors who are responsible for health policy. And generally speaking, when you bring 3 or 4 medical directors together, they all have a position, and they all would like to let everybody know, and their colleagues know what their position is. So we take a different approach. We did one-on-ones, virtual one-on-ones with individual payers. We had Centene, we had Humana, and we're getting one ready for United Healthcare Group. And what we're learning from them is really their perspective, what Rachel needs to do when she brings her technology over to the payer organization. And one of the most important things I think we've learned is what types of evidence Rachel's going to need going forward. And that's being the biggest, what I call aha moment, because one person actually identified what types of evidence he would like to see. So without getting into further dialogue on my part, here's Rachel.
Thanks, Henry. I'm here today to talk to you about an epidemic that is as large as heart health conditions or diabetes. It's underserved, it's underfunded, and it's under-researched. I'm talking about the 555 million women who deal with chronic pelvic pain globally, caused by over 51 conditions. And I know about this personally because I was diagnosed with cervical cancer 4 years ago, and I deal with chronic pelvic pain every single day. When I went through my cancer care, I was handed this 84-year-old device called the static dilator to help with my treatment and my conditions. Before these existed, they actually used to use glass test tubes to do the same thing. I was also told to go see my OBGYN, who's seeing a 35% increase in treatment demands, or to see a pelvic floor physio. And if all of the pelvic floor physios in North America were to treat the amount of women who need their help, they would need to take on a caseload of 4,000 women. This is causing women to constantly re-enter our healthcare system with chronic conditions. And why I created High Ivy Health. We've created a pelvic rehab system, which includes this novel medical device that's used at home and conducts multiple therapies like dilation, hot and cold, and drug delivery. This is paired alongside multiple biosensors that's collecting data on temperature, pressure, and moisture. That's sent to our patient mobile app where we collect self-reported data, and then sent further to our clinician software where our doctors can actually monitor our patients in real time. We've had significant benefits in our first-in-human studies. We've seen an increase in bowel and bladder movements, sexual activity, and even natural lubrication in women with menopause. We've also seen a significant decrease in muscle tension, pelvic pain, and even the effects of nerve damage. We're targeting the 53 million women with vaginismus, pelvic cancer, and endometriosis as our first indications for use. We also have fundamental system improvements seen in our pilot studies where we're targeting the 150,000 OBGYNs, cancer centers, and pelvic floor physios. We double their revenue, we increase their patient experiences, we reduce that administrative burden and the need for further referrals and ER visits. On the $12 billion dilator market, we're the only device that is conducting multiple therapies, targeting multiple indications for use, is collecting subjective and objective data while also providing real-time monitoring for our doctors. How do we make money? We sell our device at $50 per month per patient, and we have coverage for up to 80% under durable medical equipment HCPCS codes. We also sell our software as a service to our doctors under remote therapeutic monitoring codes. So essentially that allows the doctors to contract us to do that monitoring and give them an untapped revenue stream where they can take 40%. We have fundamentally de-risked major business pillars. We have validated our business model with 700 patients on our waiting list and counting, 107 clinician LOIs, and are in major strategic partnership discussions. We've manufactured our product fully in Canada. That's where I'm from. Shouldn't mention that. We are protected with about 8 patents across 5 different countries. We've also validated our regulatory pathway in the US and Canada, and we have multiple clinical studies at different stages in 3 different countries. For the rest of 2023, we're going through a commercial manufacturing run, going through our approvals for a Class 2 medical device in the US and Canada, while continuing our discussions with distributors. And this is all in preparation to do an alpha launch in Canada, where we're gonna test out the kinks before we actually come to the US for a beta launch in 2025. And we're not stopping there. We have a fundamental vision to change the pelvic floor and gynecological industry. We have 7 more patient groups that we can target. We have 8 more practitioner groups who can prescribe our device. We have 6 more device lines, including a colorectal application of this. We have 6 more revenue streams in data and consumables with drug pods. And ultimately, this leads to the data for diagnostic purposes, for measuring the unmeasurable currently. And that has got the attention of the NHS in 26 hospitals, as well as Medtronic. Here's our amazing team that I am super proud of. We have 90 years of combined experience. I'm an entrepreneur with an exit in the past, and I'm proud to say we're majority female and diverse. We're also supported by a number of amazing formal advisors in femtech, regulatory, and engineering, and medical KOLs who are leading labs, have actually been in a Netflix documentary, Watch the Principles of Pleasure, and leading national women's research initiatives. So I am fortunate enough to have raised $5.3 million in a pre-seed. Thanks. Seed and non-dilutive funding. We just closed our seed round. It gets us a commercial-ready, regulated, clinically validated product. But I know that women's health is completely underfunded. And I had a company come up to me at the booth
who is just starting out. We've had 2 amazing companies present that are in women's health. I call out all of you to go to their booths. You can come to mine too, I guess, and learn about it. Don't be scared of the word vagina. I have to say it. And I want you to get your checks out. I want you to get your resources out. And I want you to help more femtech companies and more women make strides in women's health. And thank you, mHUB team. Thanks so much, guys.
Alex Lambert, please join us on stage.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alex Lambert. I'm the Venture Capital Manager here at mHUB. I have the honor and pleasure of being up here today to introduce you to an individual who I believe embodies the qualities of innovation, purpose, and hustle. Ali Al-Jabri, CEO and founder of Quema. In the past months working with Ali, one of the things that's really shown through and I've been incredibly impressed with is the work ethic he has. I mean, it's nothing short of remarkable. Every time I'm talking to him, I feel like he's flying around the country, meeting with customers, or he's going to conferences, meeting with new potential customers and new partners. It's absolutely incredible. I think the best example of his work ethic and hustle is actually when he pitched to our fund selection committee to get into the Accelerator program. Ali was actually on a family vacation on a cruise in the middle of the ocean, and he somehow was able to get his laptop, find a room, get Wi-Fi, give a compelling pitch that got him into the Accelerator and invest him from our fund. I mean, what this gentleman is doing to make Quema a reality is absolutely incredible. Also beyond that too, I consider Ali to be a really purpose-first individual as well as entrepreneur. I mean, he's, as you'll see from his pitch, he's so incredibly passionate about the problem that Quema is solving and the mission they're on. And more importantly, he's also just a great source of energy within the Accelerator cohort, as he's been really supportive and very admirable for all the other technologies going on from all the other portfolio companies. Also, fun fact that I've learned working with Ali for the past 6 months, he can speak 5 languages, which is really incredible. He actually told me that he'll do his pitch again in one of those languages if you ask him afterwards. No, I'm just kidding around. But in reality, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. Let's welcome Ali to the stage.
That was a pretty good intro. Appreciate it, Alex. So if I was to ask you a question, what's the most dangerous industry to work in? Some of you might think oil and gas, industrial workspaces, being a cop, being a fireman. You're all wrong. Healthcare is the most dangerous industry to work in. Every hour, 2 nurses are assaulted. This is an underreported stat, and it's only getting worse. So much so that state and federal bills are being passed across all over our country. Just yesterday, California passed a bill that mandates organizations to have a workplace violence prevention program. What does that mean? Security cameras, more security guards, gun detection systems, communication devices, and the list goes on. This is meant to be a $1 trillion strain. The good news, though, is that they're also providing grants to the tune of $500 billion. We looked at what's keeping frontline workers safe. Most communication devices are bulky, obvious, intrusive, get in the way of the workflow, or are just ineffective. We also learned that laws and hospital policies require employees to wear visible name badges while they're on the job. We took 2 and 2 together and launched the world's first smart badge reel. It's designed to keep caregivers safe in the hospital, when they're walking to the parking lot after a long day of shift, and when they're caregiving at the patient's home. There's a hidden panic button on the reel. I could press that for 3 seconds while maintaining eye contact. It then syncs with the Bluetooth beacon and sends your exact indoor location. When you're giving care at home, it works with your cell phone or your tablet, sending your GPS location to 911 and to your security team as well. Common denominator here is reducing response time, because it's been proven that when you do so, you drastically lessen the severity of a violent incident. which means lives saved, dollars saved, and care given. And our business model reflects that. It's as low as a couple of dollars a month per employee to as high as $20 a month per employee. The only variable there is volume. How many people are under our service? That includes our reels, includes our app, includes our dashboard. It even includes 911 response. I'm excited to announce we have a technology partnership with Juniper Networks. Juniper Networks is Cisco's biggest competitor. Any facility that has Juniper Networks can plug and play our devices tomorrow. And thank you. And in case you didn't know, this is our booth at HIMSS right here in Chicago earlier this year. 6 out of 10 of the largest healthcare systems use Juniper Networks. And we're just getting started here. So let's talk about our competitive advantage. Panic buttons have been around for a while. Everybody knows help, I fall and I can't get up, right? Well, this is the easier version to adopt and the more effective version. Everything else in the market right now is something else you wear. So you're walking around with 2 badge reels. One has your ID. One has some kind of red button that's super obvious. Or it's a card holder that most nurses and frontline workers are wearing like 20 cards. So imagine having to fidget within your cards when somebody's showing the early signs of violence, which is called the code green. With us, you could discreetly press the button and it then sends an alert without setting off your attacker, and that's how it's effective. The best part, though, you don't have to remember to use it because it's part of your everyday uniform. And those things alone mean so much when it comes to saving lives. Since joining mHUB, we've been growing our customer base drastically, and we're just getting started. This number should probably go up by 30% in the last couple of weeks. So I can talk about all our customers, but I'd like to focus on 2 of our strongest reference customers. Integris Health implemented a pilot with us, and Integris Health is the largest healthcare system in Oklahoma. And we've been working with them for their community healthcare initiatives. They've already doubled down on that initiative and are now implementing it in their behavioral health facility as well. So it's a great reference customer for us. But it's not just about healthcare. Molson Coors is one of our customers too, and in Milwaukee, they're implementing our product in their brewery. This is just an example of the use cases that exist for Quema. I would also like to add that we have distribution agreements that we're working on. We cannot name who they are, but we have a lot of them that have been showing very strong ecosystem partnerships that we're going to be launching and announcing. For the first time ever, I'd like to mention that we got a strategic investment from North Shore Edward Umhurst, and we're so excited. We are so excited because this validates our mission and proves we're on the right path to make a difference in healthcare when there's a huge dire need. Also, we just got it backed by Google. We got an equity-free grant from Google. It's a huge deal because we get to improve our service offering, and we get access to their top talent so that we can improve our software, our map technology, and also our growth strategy. So mHUB is a hardware accelerator. Even though we joined the program with a product that's already in the market, we weren't satisfied with where we are because we want to do more. We're launching a new version of our product in the next few months that will include haptic feedback. So when somebody presses the button, they get a vibration and they feel that help is on the way. That peace of mind is worth gold. And because badge reels break, we took that challenge seriously. We're launching an indestructible badge reel. It's gonna feel like it's made out of carbon fiber, and the reel itself, the retractable, will be made out of Kevlar, the same stuff they put in bulletproof vests, yes. And because we put our money where our mouth is, we're including a lifetime service policy. This has never been done in the industry for any smart device, so we're so excited to do so. What do I do best? People talked about a superpower earlier. I also like superheroes. My superpower is investing in people and bringing the best out of them. That's what I've done with Quema, both from our team, like Joel Abaceta, who's a top 5 open source code contributor in Latin America. He's been invited by Facebook and Google to a lot of events where he spoke at. He's actually speaking at GitHub's conference in a few months. And Steve Lyle has exited 2 security companies with one of our advisors, which is really interesting how that works. And we're just getting started. We're a team of 20 people, and we hope to hit 30 by the end of next year. Some of the domain expert advisors we've brought on board, like Eric Sean Clay recently, who's the president of the International Association of Healthcare Security and Safety. He's a very well-decorated security leader, and he knows everybody in the industry. To David Calicott, who was an ex-CEO of Entrepreneurial Health and is currently giving us help in how we further determine our ROI. To a heavy hitter like Greg Twardowski, who had a security company called Wayland, and he exited for over $500 million. So I think we're learning a lot from them, and hopefully that means we're doing things right. Our goal, and all within my team and my advisors, is one common thing: to set the standard for healthcare security so that when a nurse feels safe, they feel safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's welcome Katie Maskell to the stage.
Some tough acts to follow up here. Let's give it up for everyone who's presented so far. It has been a wild and fun and really intense 6 months with these 10 teams that you are seeing on the stage today. When we invite companies to come into the program, we ask them to do a couple things. We want them to work really hard. We want them to learn as much as they can from the community that's here. And most importantly, we want them to execute. We want them to make meaningful progress on their companies. And I am so excited to be here introducing Connor today because he has done all of that and more. I'm gonna let him tell you all about his company and his technology. One thing I'd like to mention about that is it impresses me always, Connor, the way that he can take his technical expertise and translate that into real-world problems that our hospital systems are all facing. But on a more personal note, I love working with Connor. He is kind, he is thoughtful, he is smart and focused and dedicated. And I wasn't there, but I would bet that this guy was born on a sunny day because Connor can smile through the most stressful times. He can see the bright side in everything. And as an entrepreneur, what else do you want? As you know, being an entrepreneur can be a little bit stressful, and Connor's got what it takes. To sort of bring things full circle, this program isn't Connor's first time on the mHUB stage with us. Back when we opened up our doors in 2017, he visited us as a graduate student all the way from Washington, D.C. He came here when he was in the earliest ideation stations of what you're about to see as his company today. And Connor, I'm just so happy that you made your way back to us. I'm happy that you're putting down Opal HTM roots here in Chicago. So everyone, I can't wait for you to see this guy in action. Please help me in welcoming the co-founder and CEO of Opal HTM, Connor Roberts, to the stage.
Oh my goodness, Katie, thank you so much. It is great to be back on this stage. At Opal HTM, we're all about healthcare efficiency. It's not easy running a hospital nowadays. Costs are up, margins are down, labor's in short supply. Everywhere, our healthcare providers are being asked to do more with less. That's why we're taking on a major source of waste by helping hospitals rein in their bloated equipment costs that are draining their resources. See, every year, hospitals in the US spend $93 billion on medical equipment, but much of the spending is unnecessary. In fact, 58% of the time, that's the majority of the time, these devices just end up sitting idle, gathering dust in hallways and storage closets. To make matters worse, maintenance schedules rarely take this into account, leading to many devices being maintained too often, further wasting resources and actually increasing the likelihood of dangerous malfunctions. Equipment managers are desperate to solve these challenges, but they need better data. They're managing thousands of devices spread across vast facilities. They need some way to gain visibility into which devices are actually being effectively used for patient care. That's where Opal HTM comes in. We track when, where, and how often medical equipment is used. Our intelligent sensor modules interface with medical devices at their power source and translate power consumption measurements into real-time detailed usage information. Think about it like the odometer that tracks mileage in your car, but with more brain power. Our insights reveal opportunities for efficiency, and to give you an idea of how this works, take this hospital for example. We can see that their IV pumps are severely underutilized. 30%, I've actually seen 26% in real life, so below 30%. So they have a great opportunity to sell off excess inventory and reclaim that wasted capital. This ventilator, well, it's being used, but less than we expected. So we can inform technicians that they can put off maintenance for now and do something more important in the meantime. This hospital unit on the right, they have 3 ultrasound machines, but with Opal HTM, we can see they only ever use 2 of them. So you can take that extra device and transfer it to a different unit where it'll serve more patients and have a higher return on investment. Taking all these insights together, we empower hospitals to do more with less. With Opal HTM, our customers can reduce inventories by 25% and cut maintenance workloads nearly in half, all while improving patient safety and care. To put this in dollar terms, this equates to a $5 million annual savings for the average hospital, which scales to a $23 billion impact nationwide. Think of all the good that can be done by unlocking these healthcare resources. The scale of this impact is unique to Opal HTM because we offer the only solution that's accurate, universal, and scalable. Alternative technologies can pretty much give you, pretty good data for a few sets of devices or pretty rough data for your whole fleet. We avoid that trade-off. We don't make that compromise. We give you top-notch data for every device in your inventory. And because of that, we have a great leg up to win this large market opportunity, $3.2 billion. And that takes into account our target customers of large hospitals and US health systems, as well who we serve through a subscription model, priced to capture 15% of the value added to customers. Our strategy is to initially target large academic medical centers, because that's where we've seen the strongest early adopter mindset, and it's also where we have the closest ties. And as we continue to grow, we'll move into adjacent markets by selling equipment insights to outside stakeholders, like equipment vendors and public health agencies. We have a great team with the right mix of technical and hospital equipment management experience to bring this product to market. And we've already accomplished so much together. We've established ongoing collaborations with 4 leading health systems comprising over 30 hospitals. We've acquired key pre-seed investments from leading innovation funds like mHUB, who we're so happy to be with today. We've conducted thorough market validation with hundreds of customer stakeholder interviews in the NSF I-Core program, and we've been granted 2 patents protecting our innovations. We're continuing to build on this progress and are rapidly accelerating towards market. I'm pleased to announce to you all today that we've recently been awarded $875,000 in grant funding from the National Science Foundation. Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. That funding is going towards expanding our team, advancing our product here at mHUB, and doing in-field tests with our hospital and university partners. We plan to complement these funds with a $500,000 seed investment round in Q2 of next year, which will help us accomplish the things that grants just can't fund, especially fueling our sales and marketing operations. And this will keep us on track to achieve early adopter sales by Q4 2024. We're at a really exciting time in our journey, and I'd love to have you be a part of it. So whether you're an investor, a potential partner, or just someone who wants to pitch in, come talk to me at my demo table later. Let's get in touch. And I invite you to join Opal HTM on our mission to make healthcare smarter, safer, and more efficient. Thank you so much.
Okay, we have 2 pitches to go. Elias Batar, please join us on stage.
Good evening. Hi, everybody. I'm Elias Batar. I'm the Director of Critical Care at ICU Medical. I'm a biomedical engineer by training, and I've been on the commercial side of medtech my whole career, where I've had a lot of success taking products from ideation to commercialization. I credit a lot of that success to having great mentors, so I'm really glad to be part of mHUB and be able to pay that forward. Now, I'm not just here today as a professional in the field. I'm a soon-to-be dad, and that makes Vaso Wash's mission, which, yeah. That makes Vaso Wash's mission, it's a critical mission and often overlooked, predicting postpartum hemorrhage to make births safer. Very top of mind for me since my wife is 38 weeks pregnant. So I was really excited when I got the chance to work with somebody as dedicated and passionate as Christine. She is diligent, thoughtful, precise. She's the exact type of person you want to run a company that's having this type of impact. And with her tremendous team, she's made incredible progress over the past few months. And I'm really eager to see this technology come to life. Speaking for myself, I would use it on my family when it becomes available. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you the CEO of Vaso Wash, Christine Rowan.
Thank you, Elias. Globally, over 7 million women will experience postpartum hemorrhage or excessive blood loss after childbirth this year alone, threatening their lives and their reproductive health. Even in the US, postpartum hemorrhage is the leading cause of deaths and complications in labor and delivery. And studies show 90% of these deaths could have been prevented. Shockingly, 40% of the women who go on to hemorrhage are assessed as low risk upon hospital admission. A mother's risk status can change during labor and delivery. That means your sister, your daughter, your wife is dependent on the vigilance of her clinical care team to properly detect her hemorrhage. With hemorrhage, time is of the essence. So VasoWatch has developed novel technology to continuously assess a mother's risk for hemorrhage during labor and delivery. A non-invasive wearable is placed on the mother upon hospital admission. It measures the maternal heart rate timing data during uterine contractions and uploads that data to a proprietary machine learning algorithm for analysis. If the analysis indicates the mother's at heightened risk for hemorrhage, it alerts the clinical care team for immediate patient assessment. The clinical care team can then properly and in a timely way intervene, oftentimes avoiding complications and death. So how do we know this? We conducted an observational study on a diverse patient population of 525 women at a large urban Pennsylvania hospital. We compared the hospital's risk assessment system at admission to that of the VasoWatch algorithm, and we got 3 to 10 times the predictive accuracy. This can mean the difference between administering a dose of a medication immediately after delivery versus waiting to detect the hemorrhage hours later and the mother undergoing multiple blood transfusions and a potential extended length of stay. It's a 3.7 million birth market here in the US, where the need is great, and another 140 million around the world. We estimate this to be a $2 billion annuity. We're targeting states with the worst maternal mortality, those in the deepest blue, led by Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee. But I'm sorry to report, the US has the worst maternal mortality rating in the developed world, and it's rising. So we believe there's applicability across the country. Our go-to-market strategy is to license the subscription technology by birth to the 2,100 obstetrics hospitals here in the US, and to win the trust and confidence of the OBGYNs and midwives that practice at these hospitals. We view payers as key enablers. They have a vested interest in lowering the obstetrics cost of care, as well as global medtech vendors who currently have a gap in their offerings in the area of prediction, and we're talking to them. Key influencers include professional societies, maternal quality commissions that are mandated by state, and patient advocacy groups who don't want to see another mother die unnecessarily. We've assembled an exceptional team. I had a 25-year career with GE, led the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association innovation effort, and have over a decade's experience in digital health startups. I joined the founding team of Stephanie Modry, who's an obstetrics nurse with over 25 years of bedside experience, as well as Jim Weimer, who's a PhD in computer science and a prolific algorithm developer. We've recently been joined by a medical advisor and a chief technology officer, and are advised by a health equity advisor, Paula Burris, who's here with me today, as well as the Penn Center of Innovation Ventures. We've achieved considerable traction in our 2.5-year life, funding from an NIH STTR Phase 1 grant, as well as an investment from mHUB's Product Impact Fund. We've achieved recognition by multiple professional societies and accelerators, and achieved several critical milestones, including finalizing our algorithm MVP, filing a provisional patent, obtaining an exclusive option on licensing the technology, and I'm pleased to announce our partnership with Cybele Health on our clinical trial hardware, their anti-limb and anti-chest sensors, which really de-risks our hardware approach. Thank you. We're launching a pre-seed funding round, $1.5 million, which will go toward product prototype development, clinical trial design, as well as regulatory pathway support. And we're racing to get this technology to market, anticipated in 2026, because women are dying needlessly every day. Please join us in our mission to improve maternal outcomes and health equity. Thank you.
Welcoming Steve McPhillamy to the stage.
All right. Hey, so you've got the last one tonight. We've had some great pitches, right? Now let's hear for everybody so far. This is. So I'm going to ask you to do something just to kind of get us set for this last pitch, right? You know, in yoga, where you sit there and you kind of concentrate on a certain thing, and you kind of breathe in, and they say, focus in on your nostrils. And you breathe in through your nostrils, right? Like everybody do that right now. Just focus in on your nostrils and breathe in through your nostrils. That's good for me anyway right now. I'm standing up here. So, well, I want you to do the same thing, but now focus on your ass. Okay? You've been sitting here for a long time, and I think, as Melissa said earlier, badass. I don't think she meant that, but I think the thing is, you've been sitting here for a long time, and you've been moving around in your seats, and you've been readjusting, right? How many people have readjusted their seat? A couple times, right? Yeah. You're trying to shuffle around because pressure points build up. Things change, right? So I want you to keep that in your mind as you hear this next pitch. So I'm Steve McPhillamy. I come from Insight by Nemera. We've been around for 30 years. We do medical device and drug delivery. 12 years ago, we started the first MedTech device accelerator here in Chicago that we're happy about. And we had 9 different companies we brought through there, which we love. Now we're supporting mHUB, which we love even more. Can I say I love it more than my own company? I don't know. Maybe so. We have a relationship, as Bill Feinup knows. We worked together for a long time and loved working together with Bill. We always had some interesting things. I can even relate back to Bill's catch-up device from years ago. It's a big difference than medical device, but I still think it was cool. But now I'm going to talk about Wave Therapeutics. Sharon and Jessica from Wave Therapeutics are going to share more about what they've been working on. Jessica comes from a unique background. Not a lot of times have I met someone with a background in both software, mechanical, and then put on top of that she was an ER nurse. You've got the empathy, you've got the knowledge, you got the software, the analytics. That's a pretty rare combination. So with that intro, Jessica, come up here and tell them more about it. Rock it out, rock it out.
So years ago, I was working in a small town emergency department when a disabled vet arrived with the worst infected bed sores I had ever seen. He was septic and almost dead. His doctor had prescribed a $4,000 wheelchair cushion to help treat my patient, but he just couldn't afford it. Every year, some 3 million Americans will develop a pressure injury, also known as a bed sore, and 60,000 will die as a result. That's 50% more deaths than from car accidents. This space hasn't seen innovation for decades, with current options for care being labor-intensive, ineffective, and grossly overpriced. Well, today, I'm excited to share a better solution. Wave Therapeutics has developed the first affordable and effective soft robotics cushioning system to prevent and treat bed sores. Our technology utilizes 2 clinically proven therapies, alternating pressure and sequential compression, to eliminate pressure hotspots and bring fresh, oxygenated blood back to at-risk tissues. We join this with our smart analytics that delivers real-time actionable data, remote patient monitoring, and compliance with care information so critical for insurance and liability avoidance. We'll utilize our technology first in wheelchair cushions, followed by hospital beds and surgical tables. And in doing so, WAVE will solve a hair-on-fire business problem for the healthcare industry. Facilities that utilize our technology will see an instant 6x ROI in hard costs alone, while also better utilizing limited staff resources and improving reimbursements while improving their own facility star ratings. All told, the US healthcare market for cushioning products is worth over $30 billion. And with our superior technology and very attractive pricing, we quickly expect to become the next standard of care in this important space. After the US healthcare market, we'll move into global healthcare and then eventually offer products for the consumer, automotive, and airline space. Ultimately, we'd like to see our cushions under the butts of every Uber driver, long-haul trucker, frequent flyer, and conference attendee in the world. To protect this valuable market, we filed our IP in the United States, Canada, the European Union, and the UK. We continue to add to our portfolio and just filed our most recent claim last week. Oh, we're granted our first US patent just last year. We'll go to market to our B2B customers selling to hospitals and nursing homes. Our B2C customers will sell to individuals through durable medical equipment retailers and also through home healthcare providers. We'll sell our technology direct and via a monthly subscription to those individuals with temporary rehab needs. Excuse me. All told, with our compelling ROI, we project to see a 5th-year annual revenue of $135 million in the US market alone. And by the way, Europe is twice as large. We've teed up best-in-class institutional partners for our pilot studies, and we've already got a contract signed with the Veterans Health Administration, the nation's largest healthcare provider. Thank you. We've got the right people to make this all happen. Our team includes Fortune 100 tech executives, seasoned healthcare professionals, serial device engineers, and repeat entrepreneurs. Excuse me. The traction we've built to date is we've done 500 customer discovery interviews. We've built 8 generations of prototypes. We've performed or designed for manufacturing processes and started producing parts from the factory right now. Since joining mHUB, we've improved our control circuitry 3 times, drastically improved our neoprene bladders, and begun product testing. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to share. Last week, we made our very first sale. To empower our efforts going forward, we're raising a $5 million seed that will empower our soft launch, followed by our full launch, and then the development of our full mattress product. For those investors in the room that are interested in learning more and also in joining our newest investor, North Shore Edward Elmhurst Health System, thank you very much. I'd like you to come visit us at our booth, and I'll be happy to tell you more about the round. So in closing, I'd like to share that Wave Therapeutics is on a mission to end preventable bed sores. For your grandmother, for your dad, for all of us. Thank you.
Can we have a huge round of applause? Phenomenal. Congratulations, everybody. That was amazing. All right, I know that I am between, we have two very quick and important people to introduce to, and then I want everybody to move in there and talk to these teams, look under the covers, poke around, ask questions, and really get to know these teams a little bit more. I want to introduce Brad Bennett, the Senior Director of Venture Partnerships at North Shore Edward Elmhurst Health. He has been a great supporter, he and the team, for this entire cohort, and I'd like him to say a few words.
Well, on behalf of North Shore Edward Elmhurst, want to first congratulate the teams here today. As everybody's seen, it's an impressive group, and we're really proud to play a small role. So another round of applause. I want to thank Katie, Bill, Melissa, the mHUB team for their work. It's really inspiring to see what entrepreneurs can accomplish in a short period of time with some quality support. So another round of applause for them. I'd like to encourage everybody to spend some time at the demo tables. I think it's an impressive collection of teams impacting patients and communities, everything from workforce safety, resource optimization, access to care, quality of care, care experience, so the list goes on. So it really is an impressive group of solutions we have here. I had the chance to join this partnership about a year ago and walked in the front door. I didn't quite know what I was getting into, but it's been so energizing for me to get to come down here and get to spend a small amount of time with these folks. So I appreciate that on a personal level. And being a native Chicagoan, it's really cool to see the work that mHUB's doing to advance innovation in Chicago, and I'm sure those roots will only strengthen with the new place down the street. So in closing, just want to wish everybody luck. I'm really looking forward to seeing all that these impressive entrepreneurs are going to accomplish, and we'll be following you. So thank you.
All right, everybody, this is it. I'm not going to, no introduction. I'm Steve Koch. I'm one of the managing partners of the fund, and I'm here to tell you some bad news. There is no such thing as a free lunch. You don't get to sit here and just hear all this great shit and hear about all these incredible teams and be fascinated and be energized for free. That's just not the way it works. So you have a job to do. You got to pay back in the following way. In about 30 seconds, you're going to finish. You're going to stand up, give a huge cheer for all these people who have worked their hearts out for the last 6 months and really done incredible things. And then you're going to stand up and you're going to that other room and you're going to talk to them. And you're going to figure out how you can help them, because that's what you are going to do to pay back. We have a responsibility to them, to mHUB, to the city, to the world, because a lot of these people, you sit here and you listen and you think, these are people doing things that are going to make the world a really better place. They may help you one day. God forbid you need something that they have, or many of you probably already do. I know I do. We won't even talk about what. But stand up in a minute, go in there, figure out what you can do to help. Write a check, figure out who to connect them to, figure out what you thought about their presentation that might make it a little better, might move the company a little bit forward, but that's what you need to do. So please, that's our ask. That's important. Don't just run out and go to the next thing. Please help out. But let's finish by giving a huge round of applause to the teams for this cohort. And thank you for being here today.